The crew flew to the Baikonur Cosmodrome from their training base at Star City, Russia on August 26th for final pre-launch training and inspections of their Soyuz spacecraft. With the crew in Baikonur completing their training template, the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft was encapsulated into the upper stage of the Soyuz booster in the integration building last week. After the 3 stages of the Soyuz 2.1A booster were mated together, the Soyuz rocket began its trek to the launch pad shortly after sunrise on Sunday, and then it was hauled to the pad horizontally on a rail car in a process that took about 30 minutes to complete. Once at the pad, the Soyuz was raised hydraulically to its vertical position for final pre-launch preparations.
The Soyuz rocket stands 162 feet tall, weighs about 640,000 pounds, and consists of the Soyuz spacecraft inside a protective shroud at the top and the 3-stage Soyuz 2.1A booster below. The first stage has 4 liquid engines strapped to the side of the core vehicle. Each will burn for 1 minute and 58 seconds before they drop away. The core engine of the first stage also serves as the second stage and continues to burn until 4 minutes and 57 seconds into the flight. The third stage has a single engine that will ignite before the separation of the second stage, helping to push it away safely. It will burn until the 8 minutes and 46 seconds mark of the flight, and at that point the Soyuz spacecraft will separate from the third stage, having arrived at its preliminary orbit.
Atop the Soyuz 2.1A booster and strapped into their seats in the descent module of the Soyuz, the center section of the 3-section Soyuz capsule, are NASA astronaut Don Pettit and Roscosmos cosmonauts Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner. The 3 sections of the Soyuz spacecraft are familiar to those who have watched previous missions to the International Space Station. Here's a look at this Russian vehicle.
The whole Soyuz spacecraft is 24.5 feet long with an overall volume of 301 cubic feet and comprised of 3 modules. The descent module, situated in the middle of the Soyuz vehicle, contains customized seats for the crew members during launch, entry, and landing, and contains all the controls and displays necessary for the flight. It also houses life support systems, batteries for the re-entry and landing, and the parachute and soft landing rocket engines that slow the Soyuz just before touchdown as the spacecraft lands in Kazakhstan. There are 8 hydrogen peroxide thrusters located on the module, which are used to control the spacecraft's orientation, or attitude, during the descent until parachute deployment. The descent module also contains a guidance, navigation, and control system used to maneuver the vehicle during the descent phase of the mission. This descent module is 7.3 feet long with a diameter of 7.1 feet and a habitable volume of 124 cubic feet. It is the only portion of the Soyuz that survives the return to Earth. The orbital module at the top is 9.8 feet long. It connects to the descent module via pressurized hatch. This is where the crew has a small amount of room to move around following launch during the flight to the space station. It has a docking mechanism, hatch, and rendezvous antennas located at the front end. The docking mechanism is used to dock with the space station, and the hatch allows entry into the orbiting complex. The rendezvous antennas are used by the automated docking system, which uses radar, to maneuver toward the station for docking. There is also a forward-looking window in the module that the crew can use to take manual measurements of distance and closing speed with a laser rangefinder in the event of failure of the rendezvous radar system. The propulsion module houses the oxygen storage tanks, the main engine, and the attitude control thrusters, avionics, and communication and control equipment. The propulsion portion of this module handles all orbital maneuvers, including those needed for the rendezvous with the space station and the deorbit burn at the end of the spacecraft's mission. Before they are deployed, the 2 solar arrays are folded against the body of the propulsion module, which, along with the orbital module, separates from the descent module after the deorbit burn. The solar panels span almost 35 feet. The entire spacecraft serves not only as a crew transport vehicle to and from the space station, but also as an emergency return vehicle in the unlikely event the crew needs to leave the station unexpectedly.
The final moments of the launch countdown will include several important milestones. At about T-7 minutes, the pre-launch operations will be complete, and at this point in the countdown, the Soyuz booster will be ready for launch. About a minute later, at T-6 minutes, the physical launch key will be inserted into the launch bunker to transition the launch sequence into automatic mode. About 30 seconds later, at T-5.5 minutes, Launch Control will report that the range in Baikonur is clear and that the Soyuz rocket is ready to begin its journey. About 30 seconds after that, at T-5 minutes, the onboard systems of the Soyuz will be switched to onboard control, and the commander's cockpit displays and controls will be activated, and the crew will close their helmets. And you're now seeing retraction of the gantry arms. And there you can see as NASA astronaut Don Pettit moved into the mock-up of the Soyuz spacecraft seat to allow technicians to conduct pressure checks. Again, this video was captured earlier today as they underwent their pre-launch preparations. And during this process, family members and invited guests looked on across a protective pane of glass to maintain quarantine. And this suit-up procedure was completed a little over 5 hours prior to today's launch.
Let me sit down and then you'll sit down nearby. You can put him on your knees.
And there you can see as the crew completed their suit pressure checks, they went to exchange some final remarks with senior NASA and Roscosmos managers. And there on your screen, you are seeing an inside view of the Soyuz MS-26 crew. Again, that is NASA astronaut Don Pettit and Roscosmos cosmonauts Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner. We are about 7 minutes and 45 seconds away from today's launch. We are at 45 seconds away from today's launch and counting.
We have vehicle to internal power.
The first umbilical tower is now separating, and the Soyuz is on internal power. We have 20 seconds until launch and counting.
We have outer initiated. Onboard power. We have oxygen.
We now have engine sequence start. The second umbilical tower is now separating. The engines are at maximum thrust, booster ignition now at full throttle, and we have liftoff of Pettit, Ovchinin, and Wagner, now on their way to the International Space Station as part of a 2-orbit journey. We are seeing good vehicle parameters so far.
Line on board. Stopping.
Vehicle performance is continuing to look good.
Everything is stable. Photo walk 1, everything is stable on board. Remember, you're doing well. Copy.
We're now just over a minute into today's launch.
Yaw, pitch, and roll are nominal.
We are seeing good yaw, pitch, and roll, heading downrange.
Fine on board. Remember, there's no low. Copy.
We are just about a minute and 20 seconds into today's flight. The velocity is over 1,100 miles per hour. Everything continuing to proceed as planned. Just a few seconds, the escape tower will be jettisoned.
Thrusters are operating nominally.
We are about a minute and 55 seconds into today's launch. In just a few seconds, and we now see first stage separation.
We have
Есть выключение двигателей боковых блоков. Есть отделение боковых блоков. Я Бурлак-1 вас понял. На борту порядок, самочувствие экипажа хорошее.
Everything's fine on board. Copy.
The crew members reported they are feeling well, and we are having good pitch, roll, and yaw of the vehicle. All parameters on the vehicle are normal. We are now about 2 minutes and 37 seconds into today's flight. The launch shroud will be jettisoned shortly.
We have the control steering, copy out of 5 display, control descent of the nose bearing.
You are now seeing a live view from the Soyuz rocket. The vehicle is stable. The Soyuz is currently traveling at a speed of about 4,700 miles an hour.
Parameters of the rocket booster, structural parameters are nominal. Copy you. Everything's fine on board. Crew members are feeling well. Copy.
We are about 3 minutes and 20 seconds into today's flight, about 5 minutes left until we reach orbital insertion. And we heard confirmation that the second stage thruster continues to perform well.
Copy you, Burlock 1 reporting everything is fine on board and crew members are feeling well. Copy.
The vehicle control system performance continues to be good. We are about 3 minutes and 50 seconds into today's flight. In about a minute, we will see the third stage begin to ignite while the second stage begins to shut down. We have about 30 seconds left of second stage performance.
250 секунд, тангаж, рыскание, вращение в норме.
Are nominal.
Я Бурлак-1, на борту порядок, самочувствие экипажа хорошее. Принято.
We are 4 minutes and 45 seconds into today's flight. We have about 4 minutes of powered flight remaining.
Есть запуск двигателей третьей ступени,
Stage 3 thrusters on, 290 seconds.
And we just saw a second stage separation, and the third stage has ignited.
That's Burlock 1. Everything's okay on board. We feel great.
Soyuz is now being propelled by the single engine of the Soyuz third stage.
310
This engine is providing 67,000 pounds of thrust and will burn for about 4 minutes.
Everything's fine on board. Reporting Burlock 1. Copy.
We continue to see good structural parameters on the Soyuz vehicle, and the thrust on the third stage is performing well. We are about 5 minutes and 45 seconds into today's flight. We have about 3 minutes of powered flight remaining.
$350
seconds, flight nominal.
Я Бурлак-1
Burlock 1, copy you. All okay on board. The crew feels great. Standing by for 1932.
We continue to see good roll, pitch, and yaw program on the Soyuz spacecraft. And the vehicle structural parameters are still performing well and look good. We are about 6 minutes and 25 seconds into today's flight.
Stage 3 thrusters are nominal. Burlock 1, copy. All okay on board? Copy.
We have about 2 minutes of powered flight left.
$410
seconds, flight nominal. Burlock 1, copy. All okay on board? Copy.
And we are 7 minutes and 10 seconds into today's flight, everything continuing to proceed as planned, everything looking good for the ride to orbit for NASA astronaut Don Pettit and his Roscosmos crewmates Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Wagner.
440 seconds. Vehicle is stable.
We are now
Copy.
7 minutes and 30 seconds into today's flight. The vehicle remains stable. The velocity of the vehicle is now almost 13,500 miles an hour.
460 seconds. Launch vehicle parameters are nominal. Copy for Lock 1. All okay on board. Copy.
We have less than a minute of powered flight remaining, and once the third stage delivers the Soyuz to orbit and the module is separated, a series of pre-programmed commands will be executed to prepare the Soyuz for orbital operations. These stored commands, called time-tagged commands, allow many of the Soyuz's systems to be automatically activated by onboard computers at precise times stored in those communicators.
90 seconds. Vehicle stabilization is nominal.
We are now 8.5 minutes into today's flight and about 15 seconds away from third stage cutoff and separation. Roll, pitch, and yaw parameters continuing to be normal.
590 seconds waiting for the separation.
And we now have confirmation of third stage separation. The single liquid-fueled engine has shut down and has dropped away at an altitude of about 126 miles. We are now standing by for solar array deployment.
Burlak, 76 Moscow.
And we have confirmation that the solar arrays and antennas have been deployed.
Copy loud and clear.
Control of the spacecraft from here on out will be overseen by the Russian Mission Control Center in Koryov,
was nominal, no issues. Working page 35.
outside of Moscow.
Copy, correct. 35, closer PV 1 and 2.
The Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft is now less than 500 meters away from the International Space Station, and once it gets to that 400-meter mark, it will begin its fly-around. And on your screen, you continue to see a view of the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft captured from cameras on the International Space Station. And the vehicles are approaching the west coast of Africa. We are less than 30 seconds away from that fly-around, and the vehicle is about 425 meters away from the International Space Station.
Range 402 meters. Range rate 1.33 and closing. Copy.
And the Soyuz spacecraft is now about 370 meters away and will begin that fly-around. Again, that fly-around is going to be conducted at an angle of 54 degrees. And we have confirmation that the fly-around has started. And following the fly-around, the spacecraft will align.
With the AGE mode.
And following the fly-around, the spacecraft will align with the docking port on the Rosviet module, which will be the Soyuz MS-26's destination for today.
Is it better? Much better. Keep it as is. Copy all. Keeping it the way it is now.
And this Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft is continuing to conduct its fly around.
30.14 meters, 0.73 is the range rate. We're continuing fly around, targeting the designated docking port. Yes, go ahead. Continue the fly around process. Copy.
And the Soyuz spacecraft is now less than 300 meters away and closing in at a rate of about 0.6 meters per second. Coming up in less than 3 minutes, we will see the station keeping taking place. And this begins after the fly around and once the spacecraft is aligned with the docking port on the Roscosmos module.
Range 270 meters, range rate 058, approaching.
Принято.
Copy.
And the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft continues to conduct its fly around. It is about 250 meters away from the International Space Station.
50 meters. Range rate 042, 0.42, approaching.
And the spacecraft today will bring NASA astronaut Don Pettit and his crewmates, Roscosmos crewmates Alexei Ovchenin and Ivan Wagner, to the International Space Station. And once they dock and the hatches are open, the station population will temporarily increase from 9 to 12 people. And we are about a minute away from transitioning to that station keeping from the fly around. And then after the station keeping and the Russian mission control team is happy with the alignment, they will begin the final approach. Final approach is currently scheduled for about 2.5 minutes from now.
Range 227 meters, 0.27, range rate approaching. We have the...
And you are seeing some of those thruster firings from Soyuz as it crosses or flies over the coast of Moscow and continues to approach the coast of Morocco and continues to approach the International Space Station.
We see Cygnus. Yes, that's the one. We see the Prichalin course. Range is 215, 0.21 is the range rate approaching. We are practically at the axis of the designated docking port of MRM-1. Please monitor K-15. We have confirmed the pre-chalice signal.
And there you see the crosshair view from the Soyuz MS-26. You can see it is working to align itself with the docking probe on the Roscosmos module.
207 meters, 0.12 range rate. We have cone station keeping. We are expecting cone station keeping.
And the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft is now working to align itself with the docking port on the Roscosmos module, and we...
Yes, we see station keeping in the cone. No, we confirm station keeping.
And once aligned, the vehicle will then briefly go into station keeping.
We are activating the headlight.
And the vehicle is currently about 200 meters away from the International Space Station.
17. 21:26 is the time when I activated the headlight. Range 200 meters. Range rate is 0.1 approaching. We have pre-chow. Okay. Monitor the final approach process. Yes, we confirm final approach pre-chow. I see that the range is decreasing, and we see the increase of the range rate approaching the station. Copy.
And the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft has finished its period of station keeping and is now beginning the final approach to the International Space Station, reinitiating that docking sequence. Again, Soyuz uses an automated radar-based system called CORS to dock to the International Space Station.
Range is 175 meters, 0.83 is range rate approaching the station.
And the active portion of the CORS system is on Soyuz with the passive equipment on the station. And between the active portion on Soyuz, it sends a radio beacon signal to the passive portion on the space station that updates information on the range and rate of closure. And the vehicle is now about 150 meters away from the International Space Station and continuing to close in.
Range 135 meters. Range rate is 0.79 approaching the station.
We are just moments away from that docking of the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft, and just 3 hours ago at 11:23 a.m. Central, 12:23 p.m. Eastern, the Soyuz lifted off atop its Soyuz 2.1A booster, propelling it into orbit.
Fine-tuning. Yes, we see the blinking in the video. If it's not too much trouble, then could you adjust the AGC mode? Yes, we also see the blinking in our video.
And the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft and the International Space Station are currently flying east of Casablanca as the Soyuz closes in on its final approach to the International Space Station. Following initial contact and capture, there will be a period of just a couple of minutes to allow the relative motion between Soyuz and the International Space Station to dampen out on the docking interface that is between the two.
It's not working. Brulak One speaking, it's not working to get a better video quality than we have now. Copy.
And the vehicle is now
meters,
less than 80 meters.
0.37 approaching the station. There will be an eclipse in about 3 minutes. Yeah, I'm thinking that too.
And the vehicle is about 69 meters away from the International Space Station and closing in at a rate of about 0.3 meters per second. The rate of closure once it gets to contact and capture will be about 1/10 of a meter per second. Again, the docking.
60 meters. Range rate is 0.17. Approaching the station. The crosshairs are aligned.
Again, the docking of the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft it'll dock to the Roscosmos module on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. The vehicle is now about 47 meters away.
SSVP activation. We confirm SSVP readiness. The probe is extended. Copy. Range is 40, 3 meters. Range rate is 019. Approaching the station. The crosshairs are aligned. About half SL is the deviation from the electronic crosshairs positioning.
And there on your screen, you can see the crosshair view from the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft looking onto the International Space Station. And in the bottom left, you can see that range and rate of closure.
Range is 40 meters. Range rate is 015. Approaching the station. Deviation between the sky center and the crosshairs of the target are about 1 cell.
And there on your screen, you can see the view from the International Space Station looking to the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft as it continues to make its final approach in for docking. And on the front of the Soyuz spacecraft, you can see that docking probe. Once the contact and capture takes place and we allow the relative motion to dampen out, that docking probe, the forward docking probe on the Soyuz that you see, will begin to retract, and then hooks will close and we will have what is known as a hard mate between Soyuz and station.
Meters, range rate inaudible. Approaching the station. Crosshairs are aligned. It does match the center of the OSK.
And the Soyuz spacecraft is now 30 meters away, closing in at a rate of 0.13 meters per second. At the time of contact and capture, that will be about 1/10 of a meter per second. And you could hear some conversations between the crew on the Soyuz and teams on the ground as they were aligning the crosshair camera.
Try to use the AGC mode. Yes, go ahead. Should we leave this video as is? Yes, leave it as is. Should we leave it? Yes, go ahead and leave it as is. Copy. Yes, we confirm inaudible. We have Baza Air confirmed. Copy. We have visually crossed 20 meters. The crosshairs are aligned. The target crosshairs are matching the crosshairs on the OSK.
And the International Space Station is in a brief but expected handover period, but we are continuing to get these views from the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft. And they were confirming that the spacecraft was aligned with the docking target on the International Space Station, which you can see in that crosshair view on your screen. And the vehicle is now about 15 meters away from the International Space Station, closing in at a rate of 0.11 meters per second.
Range is 15 meters. The range rate is 011. Approaching the station. Range is 10 meters. Crosshairs of the target are matching the electronic crosshairs on VSK.
And the Soyuz is now 10 meters away and continuing to close in on its docking target.
Crosshairs of the target are aligned and aligned with the center of VSK.
And we are now standing by for contact and capture.
Visually, we see 3 meters. We're expecting contact. We confirm contact. We have capture 2232 capture.
And we have confirmation of contact and capture of the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft to the International Space Station at 2:32 p.m. Central, 3:32 p.m. Eastern, as the space station and Soyuz were flying 260 statute miles over central Ukraine.
And give us the spherical tank readings and the propellant.
And the forward docking probe on the Soyuz spacecraft is now beginning to retract. After that retraction is complete, hooks will begin to close.
185. Propellant 493.
Принято.
Copy.
Работаем по 57 странице.
Work per page 57.
Принято, работаем по...
Copy, we're working per page 57.
Да, отключаем фару, закрываем РПВ-1 и запускаем...
You can turn off the headlight. Sending command R7. Sending command R7, turning off the headlight. That would be C1818. Turned it off. Close RPV1. We're going to start the one-time monitoring sequence.
Following hatch opening, short time from now, between the newly arrived Soyuz and the station, Pettit, Ovchinin, and Wagner, who you're seeing on your screen, will be greeted by the current space station commander Oleg Kononenko and his crewmates. And on your screen there, you can see an image of the current Expedition 71 crew. Again, the Soyuz crew will be greeted by Station Commander Oleg Kononenko and his Roscosmos cosmonaut crewmates, Nikolai Chub and Alexander Gurbankin, along with NASA astronauts Tracy Dyson, Matt Dominic, Michael Barrett, Jeanette Epps, Sonny Williams, and Butch Wilmore.
25. Which page did you say?
Страница 25.
And we're standing by to see them go ahead and open that station hatch.
I opened it, so I see Petri. Okay, while they're opening the hatch. In the 757, transfer F4 to M. And where do we transfer it from? From the MLM. MLM?
Да, из МЛМ.
From MLM.
Принял, из МЛМ АФОТ.
From BMP, which number?
19, да. И 3 ИПК.
And 3 IPK masks.
Они где находятся?
Where are they located? BMP 19 and IPK. Are they in the MRM-1?
Так, сейчас уточняем.
Okay, let us take a
And you can now see that they have opened that station hatch, and on your screen there is Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Kononenko, who is currently serving as the space station's commander.
It's all located in the MLM Pago 1. Alexei, along plane 1. Copy. Sounds good.
Так, значит, еще пока время есть.
While we still have some time, a reminder, your spacesuit, you're going to place it for drying out 7 into vehicle 75
Room 1 SO hatch is open, and cover deck valve is in the electrical control. Copy, Oleg. Thank you. That the hatch is open and the cover deck valve is in the electrical control. Thank you.
Ignat, do you have any further instructions for us? Yes, I have a couple of more items for you. And then you can start opening the hatch. You need to set up in the BO the KSD-SU cover.
And Baikonur, along with the Russian Mission Control Center outside of Moscow and the flight director here in Mission Control Houston. And now we see that Soyuz hatch beginning to open, standing by for crew to come on board. The hatch separating the International Space Station and Soyuz was opened at 4:58 p.m. Central, 5:58 p.m. Eastern to officially welcome the Soyuz MS-26 crew aboard the International Space Station.
Алексей, пока на связи находитесь, напомню вам, пункт 8.3 выполнить перед тем, как уйти в орбитальный бред.
Alexei, don't forget step 8.3.
And there is NASA astronaut Don Pettit flying in to the International Space Station on your screen now. And he was followed by Roscosmos cosmonaut Ivan Wagner. And coming up in the back is the Soyuz commander and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexei Ovchinin. And there we go with the final of the trio aboard the Soyuz MS-26. The Soyuz commander for today, Alexei Ovchinin, being greeted by his Roscosmos crewmates.